Live and ready to go. All right, so this says my mic is connected, so we're gonna find out. We had some audio issues last class, but I think we got it sorted. So welcome, y'all. My name's Aubrey. We are about to do some yoga tonight. And so I'm gonna do a repeat of what I attempted last Wednesday when we had our audio struggles. What I intend to teach tonight is a 50-50 flow, meaning we will do 50% power flow and 50% stretch. So we'll split the class exactly in half. So the first half you get to practice getting really warm, getting your muscles nice and stretched in an active way. And then for the second half of class, the poses will be a lot more restorative, a lot more about softening into the stretch. So basically what that means is power flow first half, you'll get nice and sweaty and we'll move a little bit faster. And for the second half, we'll move nice and slow. To prepare for class, I suggest if you have yoga blocks, awesome, get those ready. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can get a water bottle and a couple pillows. So the pillows are going to be especially helpful for the stretch half of class. Essentially props in the second half of class are really to help you get some more stability on the ground. So just to give you some more points of contact, so it's a little bit easier to access the stretches and you don't have to keep your muscles tense. You can relax a little bit more deeply into that. So I'll give you a couple seconds to grab any props you need. Like I said, blocks, pillows, maybe a water bottle. And blocks are always good to have for the power flow part too. So if you haven't invested in yoga blocks, I do suggest it. I feel like that's enough time for us to go ahead and jump in. So let's begin in child's pose. So child's pose is like your starting position for your power flow. Take a few deep breaths in and out. And if it feels good, you can move your forehead side to side. Come up to a tabletop position, all fours, and we'll move through a couple cat and cow poses. Inhale, take your cow, let your belly drop, squeeze your shoulder blades. Exhale, cat pose, press your upper back towards the ceiling. Inhale for your cow, breathe. Exhale for your cat, push the mat away. One more round. Inhale for your cow, let your heart lift. Exhale, cat pose. Downward facing dog. Again with the deep breathing here, this is probably the most active pose we've done so far. So take a second to get really active through your fingers, through your toes, and through your ujjayi inhales and exhales. Breathe out all your air. Lift your heels up nice and high. Bend your knees, hold this position, turbo dog. We're gonna stay for a couple breaths. So really push into the floor, get your hips back towards your heels. Inhale, straighten your legs, downward facing dog. We'll do it a couple more times. Inhale, heels up. Exhale, bend your knees, turbo dog, hold it. 5, keep your belly engaged. 4, 3, 2, 1, downward facing dog. So we're charging up the muscles here. One more time. Inhale, heels up. Exhale, turbo dog, hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, walk or jump to your hands. Take a ragdoll pose. You can grab your elbows, sway side to side. Keep your feet active, so let your toes lift up off the mat. You can tell, just notice the difference when your toes just rest on the floor without any action. The difference that occurs in your leg muscles when you lift
and stretch your toes out. I can definitely feel it all the way up through my calves and hamstrings. Breathe out everything you got. Mountain pose. Sweep your arms up high. Press your hands together. Take them to your heart. Keep your eyes awake on your fingers. And we will begin our practice tonight with 1 Om. Exhale first. Breathe in. Om. All right, let's begin our flow portion. Mountain pose. Take a deep breath. Bow forward, exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Slide your left foot back, low lunge. Take a twist, right arm up. Hand back down, plank pose, step back. So we'll do this flow a few times so you'll get the hang of it. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, take a deep inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Let's move to the top of the mat. Lift your heels up high. Charge into your turbo dog. Now you launch to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Extended mountain. Breathe out, fold over. Inhale, lift halfway. Now take your right foot back behind you, low lunge. Take a twist to the opposite side. Breathe in. Step into your plank. Breathe out. Inhale, shift. Exhale, bend your elbows, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Drive into the mat with your feet. Downward facing dog. Let's go another round. Inhale, heels up. Exhale, bend your knees. Jumper step to the top. Halfway up. Fold down. Let your head relax. Extended mountain. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Take an inhale. Take your left foot back, low lunge. Inhale, low lunge twist to the right side. Exhale, hands down, step back, plank. Breathe in, shift over your wrists. Breathe out, chaturanga. You can always take your knees. Inhale, up dog. Downward facing dog. Let's move to the top again, heels high. Knees bend, jump, step, float, walk, halfway lift. Fold, exhale. Extended mountain, breathe in. Forward fold, breathe out. Halfway lift. Take your right foot back, low lunge. Twist to the left side, breathe deep. Hands down, step back, plank. Take a lean over. Chaturanga, push the air out. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Another round and we will add on here. So go ahead, come up to your tippy toes. Bend your knees low. Use that to press forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Extended mountain pose, deep breath. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway high, pull your shoulders in. Take your left foot back, low lunge. Twist over to the right side. Here's where we add on. So you're in the twist right now. We're gonna switch hands for side angle lunge. So when you switch hands, take your back foot, plant it with your toes facing the left edge of your mat. So you can prop your elbow up onto your thigh, This is where the prop might come in handy, or you can stay low to the ground, whatever feels good for you. We'll breathe in here. Hands down, step back, all in one motion. Come through your chaturanga this time. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Let's go to the top again. Lift your heels up. Take your turbo dog, use it, propel to the top, halfway up. Fold over, exhale. Extended mountain, breathe. Forward fold, clear the air out. Inhale, lift halfway. Take your right foot back, low lunge. Low lunge twist, opening to the left. And then we switch. Arms, plant your back foot flat, side angle lunge. We'll stay for a cycle of breath here. Next time you exhale, hands down and chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. We'll keep going, adding on. Pick up your heels. Bend your knees. Jump or step to the top, halfway up. Bow down. Extended mountain, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. Left foot back, low lunge. Inhale, right arm up for the twist. Exhale, side angle lunge. Inhale, reverse warrior two. Take your front hand, reach it up and back. And take a big cartwheel down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Let's catch the other side, heels up. Knees low. Jump or walk to the top, halfway lift. Fold as you exhale. Extended mountain, full breath. Release it, forward fold. Lift your chest, stretch it forward, halfway. Slide your right foot to the back, low lunge, twist open to the left side. Come around, switch your feet and hands, side angle. Reverse warrior two. Left hand goes up and over your ear and take a big swim through, chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing dog, one more of those, just like that. Lift your heels, knees low, float forward, halfway lift, fold. Mountain pose, reach to the sky. Forward fold, let your head relax. Halfway, inhale. Left foot back, take it low lunge with a twist. Come around, side angle lunge. Reverse warrior two. When you breathe out, take a cartwheel and flow, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Down dog, we have one more round. Pick up your heels. Bend your knees. Travel to the top, halfway lift when you get there. Breathe out, fold. Extended mountain. Release your air, fold. Halfway lift. Right foot back, low lunge twist. And then you switch, side angle lunge. Reverse warrior two, up and back. Take it all the way to the mat, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a second to catch your breath. Whew. So that was the first little section in our 50-50 flow, or the first half of the first half, I suppose. So we'll keep creating some heat here. Start by moving to the top of your mat. You can walk or jump, whatever you like. Halfway lift at the top. Bow down, exhale. Chair pose, have a seat. Reach your arms up nice and high. If it feels weird for your shoulders, you can also do the prayer hands. Here we go. So from your chair stance, we're gonna keep stepping back for that crescent warrior situation. So starting with left foot up, keep the bend in your right knee. Step back for warrior one. Take your arms up if they moved. So we'll stay in the warrior one for a little bit. Just because we're flowing, that's not the only way to create heat. You can create heat in your muscles by sustaining positions. So we'll stay here for just a moment longer. Use your back foot to turn your left hip forward, pull your right hip back. Extension up towards the ceiling. Breathe in one more time. Open your arms up, warrior two. Breathe in, straighten your front leg. Breathe out, glide forward for triangle. This is a really good place for a block. If you don't have a block, water bottle can go under your right hand, or you can use your hand against your leg to press off of. So for me, I'm feeling like a half bind with my top arm. You can also extend it up towards the sky here. So just notice where you feel the stretch right now. If it feels like it's just in your knees, bend them a little bit and press your hip bones forward towards that left edge of your mat. We're gonna come back to that warrior two. So bend your front leg, reach your arms nice and wide. Breathe out, reverse warrior two. Take it up and back. Back to warrior two. A little bit of balance here. Press off of your back foot, all your weight in your right foot, half moon. So another good place for a prop underneath your bottom hand. If you're really working the balance, you can keep it hovering. Make sure you're breathing. 3, 2, 1, forward fold. Take your feet about hip width distance apart. Grab your big toes with your peace fingers. Exhale, pull your chest towards the ground. Big toe forward fold. All right, let's keep that heat. Let go of your toes. Scoot your feet wherever they feel best for your chair. Could be touching, could be slightly apart. Take your chair pose. Hands up or hands to heart center. Either way is cool. Now you pick up your right foot, slow motion, step into warrior one, other side. So make your adjustments with your hips. If you feel any pressure in your back knee, you can also bend it a little to get that access more towards your hip. If you squeeze your core, you might feel the stretch happen even deeper. That is good news. Warrior two. So in warrior two, you want your feet on one line right here. Take your front leg, straighten it, glide forward, triangle pose. Use your top hand wherever it feels good. Could be that half bind. It could also be over your ear if you're looking for more length along the side of your body. Breathe deeply. Come back to that warrior two. You can gaze to the floor. That might make this a little bit easier. You know you're going to come through. Press onto your left foot. Launch to the front of your mat, half moon. So your right foot comes off the floor. Doesn't matter how many hops it takes as long as you're working on something. Keep breathing, y'all. 3, 2, 1, forward fold. Lift your chest halfway up. And take your right foot, back foot, left foot. Let's do left foot. Keep your right foot in front. Pyramid pose. Get your prop if you have one. We're moving into twisting triangle. So take your block under your left hand, Reach your right arm up. If you don't have a block, you can grab against your leg or use a water bottle. Whatever you've got is cool. Take an inhale. Take both hands, turn your body facing forward, step to the top, gorilla pose. So now you take your hands underneath your feet, give your hands a little massage. And then we move through pyramid on the other side. So go ahead, halfway lift it, and then you take your right foot back this time, pyramid stance. Once your legs are set, get your prop or your leg ready. We inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist over to the left, twisting triangle. Especially when you're all twisted, it might be a little bit easier to forget about your breath. Bring it back right here. Turn your chest facing the floor. Take a step with your right foot, meet at the top, breathe out, forward fold. Inhale, extended mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Jump or step back, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, inhale. Lay on your belly, exhale. So we're gonna keep the fire going. Take your hands next to your ribs. So you're making cricket arms right here. We're moving to locust. Go ahead, lift your legs, lift your chest, and finally lift your hands. Keep your gaze where it feels best for your neck. Stay with your breath for 3. Pull your elbows and shoulders back. 2. 1, release. 2 more. Inhale, locust. Pull your belly in. 2. See what happens. Exhale, lower. 1 more time. Inhale, locust. If you have a different arm variation that you like better, go for that. Inhale. Exhale, release. Upward facing dog. Lift your chest. Camel pose. So camel, you come to your knees. Stack your shoulders over your hips, over your knees. I like to tuck my toes under, so I've got some more action happening through my leg muscles. You can also have your tops of your feet flat. Press your hips forward. That is the most important part. Next, lift your chest. The very, very last thing you do, if you do it at all, is to drop your head. So you decide what feels best for you. If you feel any pressure in your low back, you don't have to go as far. Definitely keep your hips moving forward. 3, 2, 1. Sit onto your butt all the way to your back. We'll do some bridge poses here. So get your feet set, press into the mat, lift your hips up off the floor, and you decide. You can either hold a long bridge or you can do some push-ups by pressing into the mat, lifting and lowering your hips. So you choose. Bonus, you could do the push-ups with one leg up and lift and lower. All I'm going to do is breathe here. You pick your intensity, you pick your variation. And if you're feeling especially warm, you could come up into wheel pose. You are in charge right now of keeping that heat. Keep driving into the floor with your feet. Maybe your chest can get closer to your chin if you're in bridge. We'll stay for 3, for 2. 1 more breath. Lower your back to the floor. Brief butterfly pose to reset. And then take your fingertips behind your head. We still have some more work to do. Take a deep breath right here. On your exhale, draw your knees towards your elbows. Inhale, stretch out. Keep your feet pressing together. Butterfly crunch again, elbows towards your knees. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, curl up. 2 more, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, stretch out. Exhale, meet at the top and pulse, elbows towards your knees. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lay back, grab your knees. Just a brief moment of rest. Extend your legs up to a waterfall position, hands back behind your head. Take your shoulders up, and we'll keep going with some abs. Drop your right foot to hover, and then just switch your feet. Keep switching for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right to bicycles twist. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boat pose. Pop up onto your seat. So you can grab your knees if you need some extra help. Take it to your highest boat. So legs up, arms up, high boat. Inhale at the top of the pose. Exhale, low boat. Inhale, boat pose, high or medium, whatever you choose. Exhale, take it low. Inhale, back to boat. Exhale, take it low. Look at your toes, crisscross them. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lay back. Whew, hug your knees. Rock and roll up and down a couple times. And one more exercise before we go to the second half of class. Use your momentum from your rocks to come up into chair pose. All right, so you've got a couple rounds of this. Once you're in chair, you sit back, roll back, do it again, chair pose. Whew. You might lose your balance, you might fall over. You don't have to take it too seriously. Another round, sit back, come up, chair. Another round, sit back, roll it, chair pose. You can hold the chair or you can come into crow. I'm just gonna count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, everyone meet into chair pose, breathe in, forward fold, breathe out, let your head relax, sway it left and right. And we are moving into phase 2, the second half of 50-50 flow. We're gonna go into stretches. So if you haven't grabbed a pillow or props, this is the time to do it. From your forward fold, take your body into downward dog. Arms stretched out in front of you. Take a deep inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, turbo dog. This is just a setup here. See if you can bring some of that restorative feeling, even though you're in an active pose. Straighten your legs, breathe out. Come into a tabletop position. We'll move through some cat and cow. Once again, inhale for your cow. Exhale for your cat. Move as fast or as slow as your breath wants to go. It might also feel good to close your eyes. So give yourself whatever tools you need to create some relaxation. So we generated quite a bit of heat. Let's move into a thread the needle. So take your right arm up to the sky. So we always want to create extension before rotation. So get your heart nice and lifted. Breathe in. Reach your arm underneath your body until your shoulder, the back of your shoulder touches the mat. And your other arm, so your left arm, can go anywhere that it supports you. So it could be by your face, could be up over your head, around behind your back. If you want a bonus stretch for your hips at the same time, you can take your left foot out to the side, like sometimes we do a half child's pose, half frog. This would be for you if that's what you're craving. No pressure if you don't want that. You can also keep the tabletop legs. You do want your hips stacking over your knees. Unwind, come back to center. Let's reset with one cow for your inhale. One cat for your exhale. Come back to your neutral table. Extend your left arm high as you inhale. Thread under as you exhale. I certainly felt my back pop in a couple of places. Must have needed this twisting stuff. Your right arm can go wherever it works best for you. Again, the option, you could take your right leg out in front. If you fall out of the pose, you just kind of roll over your shoulder. No big deal. And just pay attention to the length that's happening in your back. So rather than being kind of crunched in, you want to stretch your chest forward. Still keeping your hips over your knees, but get long through your back. It's always healthier to twist with an extended spine rather than a flexed one. So just bring that lift, even though you're resting on your body in a unique way here. Take yourself back to the middle, tabletop position, downward facing dog as you exhale. Now you get to open your shoulders in a different way for your down dog. Extend your right leg up towards the ceiling, three-legged dog. Bend your knee, open your hip. You can make some big circles right here. That might feel nice, or you can keep your leg pressing up and back, whatever feels good for you. If you're moving the circles, change directions. Extend your leg back behind you. Take a big step forward outside of your hands. So on the pinky toe side of your right hand, or the pinky finger side, low lunge, lizard style. So regular low lunge is where your hands are framing your foot. Lizard lunge is where they're on the inside. This is where the props might come in really handy here. So you can have your hands on your props. You can take your elbows to the props. If you're feeling pretty good right here and you want a little extra, you can take your forearms all the way down to the floor. What's really the key here is to keep your back from rounding too much. You don't want that cat pose. You want neutral. So squeeze your shoulder blades together lightly. Think about moving your chest forward. So you have the option to shift forward and back. Gently place your back knee on the floor. Move your hands up if you were on your forearms. We're setting up for a pretty deep hip flexor and quad opener. So bend your left knee, reach back with your right hand. So this is a twist and an opener for your back leg here. If this is hard to grab, that's okay. You can still do the same twisting motion and without that extra quad stretch. If you have a towel or a strap available, you can use it on your back foot as well. So always some variations depending on what your body's going through right now. You can also let your front knee open up to the side. So just listen to what your knees need.
And your back knee here, if it feels uncomfortable, you can also place a towel or a pillow or roll up your mat underneath it. So if you do have your foot, drive your heel towards your body. You want to squeeze it, feel that length all the way through the front side of your leg. If you've got it, gently release it, come back to center, and now take your knee off the floor, adjust your hands so you're in a low lunge. So frame your front foot, place your knee back down, lift your chest up. So you're in a modified crescent lunge. Couple breaths here. You can drive your hips forward, lift your chest up and lean it back for a little extra back bend. Next time you breathe out, take your front leg straight or straight-ish for half splits. So again, this is why props can be really supportive here. Might feel more like a balancing pose if you don't have your hands on something here. If you are creating more of a balance, that's okay too. You can also try to get your hands forward. You're probably gonna feel it in your hamstrings. You can try to sit up straight, get those stabilizer muscles working. Like I mentioned though, when we're moving into stretches, the more support you can give with your props, the better. Whenever you feel like you need more, you can keep scooting your knee, your back knee back behind you. Eventually someday moving into a full split, no rush to get there. Come back to your modified crescent lunge, arms up. Just for one breath, place your hands back down, set up for half pigeon. Right foot over to the left side of your mat. So for this position right here, I highly recommend, if you've got some pillows available, to place pillows or props underneath your chest right here. So you can give your upper body more of a release. So you're not trying to use your shoulders to keep your body upright. You can really just melt into your position here. Notice if your body wants to lean to one side or the other. You really want your weight distributed straight forward, evenly on both hips. So this might be a lot by itself. You can also, if you want to change the angle of your positioning and change where you feel the stretch, if you take your hands back by your hips, you can create more of a chest opener. And for me, I definitely feel it in my hip flexor on my left side. So you can decide where you want to take this pose. Just give yourself somewhere that feels like you can sustain the stretch for a little while. If it feels too uncomfortable, it's going to be hard to relax. So find a place where there is some discomfort, but not enough to take you out of the practice. Breathe out. Now we'll set up for that whole flow with your left leg up. So come back to downward facing dog. If you need to pedal your feet, go for it. When you're ready, three-legged dog, left leg high to the sky. Bend your knee, move your hip around, make those big circles. Change directions. Three-legged dog. And take your big step outside of your hands here. Lizard lunge variation. And if you're really lucky and you have like a yoga bolster, like one of those big long pillows, you can place it
underneath your forearms or your entire body right here, just for extra support. So you decide on this side what depth to go to. You can stay upright, you can take it down. Give yourself that move forward and back. Remember, no cat pose back, flat back, so your hips are lowering and your chest is lifting just a little bit. So now we come to our twist. This is called galaxy pose. You can prop yourself up, bend your back knee. You're creating a twist. So take your opposite hand up and over. Maybe you grab your foot, maybe you use a prop. Maybe you don't do any of those and just have your hand on your hip or behind your back. All of those are awesome options here. Feel free to let your left knee draw out to the side if that feels good. Again, lift through your chest so you create a really healthy rotation. Couple more breaths here. If you've got your foot, take it back down. We'll set up with hands framing your foot so you can pick up your knee if you need to get that situated. Rest it back down gently. For me, I needed to scoot it forward just a little bit for a modified crescent lunge. So take any variation you like with your arms, hands clasped or up. Just experiment with your expression here. Now your hands come on either side. Take your left leg straight, half splits. If you feel pressure in your knee, soften your knee a little bit. Definitely flex your toes towards your face. I know it's probably the last thing you want to do, especially if you have tight hamstrings. If you're feeling the burn, it's working. Slow your breathing. Same thing here. If you feel like you have more to give, you can keep scooting your back knee back. Flatten through your spine. I really enjoy the mixture of power yoga and stretch because I find that they're almost, it's the same kind of practice in a different way. So for me, the mental practice of staying in a stretch is more challenging than just staying in the fire, staying in the heat and the flow. So you get to find your edge. Definitely, maybe power flow is not your speed and this feels like your rest. Maybe the other way around. I really like the balance for sure. And now we come back, reset for your low crescent. And then hands back down, set up for half pigeon, second side. So while you're setting up, keep your thighs facing the same direction as the left and right edges of your mat. Same deal if you're lucky, you can place a bolster underneath your chest right here. Pillows are great, blocks are great. Use them to get your body in a place where it doesn't have to try anymore. It can just be in the position. With every exhale, listen to your body. See if you've got some places that feel tight or stuck. And when you exhale, let those release. If you ever get into a half pigeon and you need to deepen, you can always tuck your back toes under and wiggle it towards the back of your mat just a bit further. Remember, you have options for other variations, so explore what your body might want. For me, my hip flexors are always extremely tight, so lifting up my chest to open that up feels really nice. Well, really uncomfortable, but ultimately good for me. Come out of your half pigeon into double pigeon. Take your right leg on top of your left. Keep your ankle just outside of your knee here. So if it's sickling in, it puts a little bit of pressure on your ankle. You can take it out to the side. This is a lot. You can always extend your bottom leg. And if you feel like it's close but not quite, this is another place for a pillow or a block underneath your bottom knee. So in this case, your left knee. Again, use your breath to soften on every exhale. Over time, you might find that your legs can drop a little bit lower. Maybe not. You'll know where to go. And you can also take your hands behind your hips and press into the floor like you're trying to push your heart forward, kind of arch your low back just a little bit. Maybe feel that deepening. I know for sure just from seeing the view in the camera, my knees go quite a bit lower from just this motion of pushing into the mat with my hands. Breathe out. Take your right foot out to the side, single leg seated forward fold. As you go, turn your torso, and then on your exhale, reach towards your foot. Come on up. We're gonna do that little sequence in reverse for the other side, meeting in a straddle fold. So start with your legs as wide as they feel okay for you. Hands actually can go back behind you, same thing as that double pigeon before, or you can take your hands forward. Take yourself to whatever variation feels like something for you. And every once in a while for me, I feel pressure in my knees here. So if that's the case for you, you can always use pillows underneath you. Props are definitely not just for beginners. I feel like it's really a way to elevate your practice, actually, is being able to adapt and use props to support yourself in growing the pose. So they're not a crutch by any means. They're a way to enhance your practice. Let's do single leg stretch on the other side. So keep your left leg extended. Turn your body. On your breath out, go ahead and fold. Speaking of props, for all these folds, you can also use a strap or a towel around your foot so you give yourself a little bit more access, especially if you're feeling tight in your hamstrings. Come on up. And now we'll do double pigeon. This time your left foot goes on top of your right leg. Make your adjustments so your ankle is over.
And something really common is to have your bottom foot kind of next to your hip. You want your foot forward so you can see your toes, so your shins are parallel to each other. So not necessarily parallel up and down, but parallel forward to back. So use your props however you need, if they're accessible to you. You might want to close your eyes here and just listen to the sensations. If the sensations are really loud, breathe louder than you think. So use your breathing to remind yourself that your body is safe, it's all good. If you ever feel like an electric, pinching, really sharp sensation, that's the signal to back off. But if you're feeling stretch, like a really deep stretch in your muscles, that's a good sign. Only you know for sure what signals you're getting, so you adjust however you need. Speaking of adjustments, now's the time if you want to try that pushing into the mat with your hands to get your knees a little bit lower. All good. Couple more breaths. Exhale all your air. Come out of your double pigeon. We will move to frog pose. If you're really lucky and you've got a wall accessible, you can do your frog up on the wall. So it would look something like this. You'd have the wall directly underneath your feet. You want 90-degree bends in your ankles, your knees, and your hips. So over time, gravity will take your feet lower and lower, your knees wider and wider. Those of you who don't want to use the wall, you can come into regular frog. Regular frog, same idea, it's just different orientation to the ground. So you take your knees out, flex your feet, and again, epic place to use props underneath your chest. So you're not using effort to hold your body up. You can just allow yourself to rest in the pose. This is something I've been unlearning in my yoga, is that force, especially in situations like these, force does not always get things done more efficiently. In your stretching poses, it's pretty much the opposite. The more you force, the more your body tenses up and the less likely you'll be able to safely deepen the posture. So rather than using force, use acceptance. Just see where you're at. Take a few breaths, practice being okay with that. And you might find the pose deepen itself naturally. Just see what happens. Two more inhales and exhales. Lift yourself back. Come to a seated position. You can also take a second on your belly to move your feet left and right to reset your hips here. When you feel complete, you can take a seated forward fold. Extend your hands towards your feet. Whether you grab them or not is irrelevant. You can also keep your knees with a little bend. Exhale out. Reverse tabletop or reverse plank. So your reverse table, kind of self-explanatory. You do your tabletop position,
but you're flipped around, reverse plank, same thing. This time, toes face the mat. So whichever one feels best. Play with the arrangement of your fingers here. See what feels best for your shoulders. Inhale at the top. Exhale, come down to the mat. Invert your legs. You can do a literal legs up the wall pose. Let your feet dangle up against it. You can use a prop. If you have a yoga block or something sturdy, you can place it underneath your hips for an extra elevated waterfall. Anything where your legs are inverted above your chest is a good thing to do right now. It's basically your body, full body reset. So no matter which variation or which inversion you're doing, meet in waterfall pose. If you do have the block underneath you, slide it out to the side. Hug both knees into your chest. Extend your left leg out. Keep your right knee hugged in. And take it across your body. Supine twist variation right now. So your knee stays bent. You can also experiment. It might feel better to lengthen your leg out. Just see what works for you. And keep your shoulders pinned to the mat. So rather than letting your body follow your right knee, keep your torso locked in. Your knee and foot might never touch the floor over there. That's okay. I feel called to hook my toes behind my other knee. So you just see what works. We'll breathe in. Breathe out. Come back to center. Curl up into a little ball. And then we'll switch. Keep your left knee in. Breathe in. Exhale, turn your knee across your body. Keep your shoulders attached to the floor here. See what feels best for your leg. Come back to center. Hug your knees again. Reclined butterfly pose. This is your pre-game for your Shavasana right here. So you can stay in the butterfly if you want to keep this passive stretch going right now. You can let your legs extend out, or if you do have a pillow or yoga blocks, you can also set them up underneath your shoulders here, underneath your shoulders and head. So in my case with the yoga blocks, I'm placing one block on a higher setting just underneath my shoulder blades and moving the second block underneath my head. So if I were using a bolster here or a long pillow, I would place it all the way down to my tailbone and maybe even stack some pillows so I've got support all the way along my back. That's one way to use your pillows, should you have them. If you have none of that stuff, you can always go to your regular Shavasana with your body fully resting flat on the floor. Let's breathe together so we can fully rest. Inhale through your nose. Open your mouth to clear it. Now's the time to have your eyes closed. Let your inhales and exhales be really soft and easy.
Stay for a little while longer, so do your best to stay right here. It can sometimes be tempting to wander off, think about other things to do, when really the only thing to do is to be right here. Begin to stretch out your toes and fingers. Bring some movement back to your body. You can stretch out like a good morning stretch. If you're propped up, gently roll off of your props. Everyone make your way to infant's pose. You can use your bicep as a pillow here. And then come up to a seated position. Close your eyes if you open them. Place your hands together at heart center. Let's close out this practice with one final Om. Exhale out. Inhale. Touch your thumbs to your third eye. Thank you for taking the time to practice with me today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. The light in me sees, honors, and loves the light in you. Namaste. Yay, we did it. Thank you for showing up. We always have the class replays up on the YouTube channel, unless something happened technically that wasn't up to speed or up to par with what we're looking for. So this was a replacement for last Wednesday. Thank you guys for sticking around. If you have requests for tutorials or you have any particular poses you want to see in class, please reach out to me. You can always type in the chat or send me an email, reply on YouTube as a comment. Whatever works for you works for me, so I'll find a way to give you what you need. New videos are up in the CJJF app, so check it out. And I will see you back tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Check out the replays if you want. See you on the mat. Take care, y'all. Bye for now.